What is up guys, welcome back to another GeekaWhat video, and today I'm going to be showing you step by step how to build a $750 gaming PC build for 2020. I'm going to run you through all the parts I selected and why before showing you how to put it together, and then we're going to boot this machine up and test it with a load of the most popular games. Without any further ado though, let's jump into it. As always, I'm going to kick things off installing our CPU and our RAM into the motherboard. Specifically, this is Gigabyte's B550M Gaming. It's actually one of the cheapest B550 boards around, which is great news for a build like this. To install our CPU, line the golden triangle up on the processor with the triangle on your CPU socket. Lift up the arm just like so and drop the processor nice and gently into place. You may need to give it a little bit of a wiggle, pop the arm back down, and we're sorted. Specifically, this is the Ryzen 3 3100. It's a really powerful budget CPU, and with 4 cores and 8 threads, it's gonna do the job nicely for today's build. Next up, I'm gonna install our RAM into our motherboard. Specifically, this is Kingston's HyperX Fury RGB. It's easily installed by finding the notch on your RAM DIMM and then lining this up with the notch on the DIMM slots of your motherboard. Align that notch and push the RAM down into place. Repeat for as many DIMMs as you've got, and we're sorted. The next step today then is to install the included AMD stock cooler. It's going to do a great job for a budget build like this. The 4 screws on the bottom of the cooler then line up nicely onto our motherboard and can be screwed in just like so. This will come with pre-applied thermal paste if it's brand new, so no need to worry about applying your own. That's nice and easy, and all that's left to do then is pop our fan cable to the grey header at the top of our motherboard labelled CPU fan. It's all very self-explanatory. We're next going to go ahead and move this motherboard assembly, as we call it, into our case. To do that, you need to remove both the side panels. Be careful with this glass one particularly. Grab your I/O shield from your motherboard's box and line the circular audio ports up with the bottom of the case. This then kind of clips in corner by corner, and it can be sharp, so be careful. Next up, you want to take your motherboard and find each of the holes through the motherboard. You then want to make sure we've got a standoff installed under each of these locations. Conveniently, this case already has a standoff here, and here. We can then take our motherboard and slide this through the rear I/O shield. We're then going to use these screws to secure our motherboard down. Next up, I'm going to spin the case around and take this opportunity to install this, our power supply. This is going to make sure our system gets nice and fresh power from the wall, with this specific unit being from Cooler Master. You need to take out a SATA power harness, a dual 6+2 pin GPU power cable, a 20+4 pin fat motherboard power cable, and finally a 4+4 pin CPU power cable. Clipping in the cables to your power supply is super simple. Everything is nice and easily labelled, and if it doesn't fit, there's probably a reason for it, so don't panic. We're then going to run a couple of our cables. The first is our 24-pin motherboard power cable, and the second is our 8-pin CPU power connector. While we're here, it also won't hurt to run our USB 3 cable, that's the blue one, as well as our HD audio cable, which is nicely labelled, as well as the cable for our power switch. With those little bits of cabling out the way, we can go ahead and install our final 2 components. The first is our SSD. To do this, we're going to push this bracket downwards and it will pop straight off, before lining the SSD up in the sled and using the same screws we installed our motherboard with to fasten it into place. Specifically, this is the Kingston A400. It is a more budget-oriented drive, but it means we can have solid-state storage across the whole system here. You want to install the SSD back in. Go on. There we go. Before grabbing one of your SATA power cables and clipping this in from the bottom. We're going to do the same for our data with this flat SATA data cable that comes included in your motherboard box. Clip it into the right-hand side of your drive before running the other end through the case to our motherboard. Lovely stuff. Now then, we're going to install our graphics card, and today it's another Team Red build, which is happening more and more recently, and this is the Radeon 5600XT. This specific card is from Gigabyte, and just as I normally recommend, is one of their more budget cards that still has a really great cooler and a sleek design with this cool little backplate. To install your graphics card, push back the tab on your PCIe slot and then kind of shadow the GPU over. This allows us to find out which of these covers need removing. In our case, it's the second and the third. Then it's a case of slotting our graphics card into place just like so and securing it back down. I'm gonna run our GPU power cable through the bottom of the case, I think, as this will look the most clean. We're then gonna use a single 6+2 pin power cable and plug up this super efficient 1080p gaming machine. I'm gonna take a cable tie that was included with our case to tuck this extra connector away and make the whole thing look as neat as possible. To finish off the build nicely, I'm also gonna grab a couple of RGB fans. These are optional and the airflow's already pretty good, but they'll just add a little something to our build today. I'm gonna place one in the back and one in the top. With that being said though, I think that pretty much wraps it up for the build itself. Let's tidy those cables up, whack those side panels on and boot it up to see how it looks, but more importantly, how it performs. Roll the montage. Okay then, now you've seen just how good this system looks, let's boot it up and see how exactly it performs. I'm first off going to show you how to kind of go into your BIOS, install your drivers and get everything up to date. Mash the delete key as the system turns on. Beautiful, okay. Now we're in the BIOS, you can see here we've got our Ryzen 3 3100 with 16 gigabytes of memory, but it's only running at 2400 megahertz. So you need to hit this XMP button, and that is going to speed our RAM up nicely to 3000 megahertz. We can then go to save and exit, and boot straight up into Windows. It might take a couple of seconds, and we are in. The first thing you want to do is go on the internet, and download the latest drivers for our graphics card in particular. So we can go to the Gigabyte 5600XT, and locate the AMD driver for Windows 10 64-bit. We're going to download that and run it straight away. I'd also recommend picking up the Gigabyte RGB Fusion 2.0 software with this snazzy RGB download button and picking up the Corsair IQ software for our RGB fans. We can then launch the AMD Radeon software and check that our drivers and all that good stuff are nicely up to date. With that being said though, let's jump into the first game today, which is Overwatch. I'm running it at 1440p, the Ultra preset, with basically an unlimited frame rate, so we can really get the most out of this machine. So far we're like 110, 120 FPS, and the game looks super duper smooth. Yeah, it's beautiful. What a start. Lovely stuff. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, come on. Whoa, Lima, what was he doing over here? How's he got in? Oh, it was all going so well. Never mind, never mind, never mind, never mind. Not to be defeated, next up we've got Forza Horizon 4. This is one of my favourite games really, so I'm excited to see just how it performs. I think I'm going to go ahead and apply the suggested Ultra preset, which puts us at 1440p, unlimited frame rate, and then the ultra dynamic render quality, and we're going to hit save. So it's moment of truth time, and I mean, so far so good. We're running at basically 95 frames per second, which for a racing game is like more than enough. Like, yes, you could tone this down to 1080p and quite easily achieve well over 100, 130 frames per second. I really don't think there's any need to. I think it looks better at 1440p while getting, I mean, here, over 100 frames per second. Whoa! Next up, we've got a little bit of Apex Legends. I'm going to try 1440p again. Pretty much high settings across the board. Bit of medium down the bottom here. And obviously, VSync disabled to make sure we get that, you know, super high frame rate. I mean, so far so good. We're like over 100 FPS, over 90 FPS. I was kind of expecting it to be lower at 1440p, but I mean, I'm not complaining. But have we got a teammate down already? Oh, we've got a whole squad. There is legit a whole squad right now. Oh no. We all just got baited by that guy. He ruined us. But I mean, on the positive side, the game runs really, really well, so there's no worries on that front. Next up, let's try a bit of GTA 5. I'm gonna try it first off at 1440p. We've got stuff like VSync disabled, anti-aliasing at like 4 times, and then some of our render distances at around halfway. Let's run the benchmarking test. So, you know, we get a really, really fair result. And you can go back and compare this then against my other builds if you wish as well. So far, that's kind of what I expected. 50 to 60 FPS at 1440p. I'm going to let it run through and then I'm going to try it again at 1080p so we can kind of see the difference. Visually though, the game looks fantastic and there's times here where we're getting 70, 80, even touching 90 FPS at 1440p, which is very, very impressive. I've restarted the game, gone back into the settings menu and just toned the resolution down to 1080p. Everything else, as you can see, is completely the same. So let's run the benchmark test again and see what that difference is. Wow, okay, straight away we're looking at maybe another 20 to 30 frames per second over the last test. The game visually is not quite as sharp, but in terms of frame rate, it's definitely a bit smoother. Either way though, this 5600 XT and especially that Ryzen 330-100 chip to be performing well at 1440 or 1080p is very, very impressive. I'm honestly so happy we've got more all AMD builds back. It's really nice to see. Next up today, we've got a little bit of Valorant. I'm running this at 1440p, sort of medium graphic settings across the board. I think the best way to test it is to jump straight into a game. My second only ever game of Valorant. I mean, so far, so good. The game hasn't kind of kicked off properly yet, but 250 plus FPS is kind of bonkers. Even in-game so far, we're getting sort of 220, 230 FPS, which is amazing. Beautiful, look at that, lovely stuff. Lovely bit of teamwork there. No, you do not, boys. I see you, bro. I see you. I see you. I see you, bro. Nice work. Good work. This team's sick. I mean, all throughout this game, we've had no drop frames, we've had no stuttering, we've had, you know, we've had nothing. Boom! We've had nothing bad at all, and visually it looks great. Oh, it had to happen eventually, eh? Next up then, we're going to play a little bit of Call of Duty's Warzone with a 2560 by 1440p resolution, VSync of course disabled, and everything else on kind of between medium and high settings. Let's jump into a game. This is actually the new 200 player Battle Royale mode as part of the new update, which took ages to download, but it's actually kind of exciting. 200 players, whoa! 200 players in one game mode is kind of bonkers. Let's grab this buggy and go and join the rest of... Oh, we lost a man already. Oh, no. Oh, no. So far, so good though. Even with a huge 200 player lobby at 1440p, we're looking in the region of about 100 frames per second, which is kind of crazy. Oh, got a shot in the back. That was a good effort, to be fair. I mean, that's 200 player Warzone for you, isn't it? Just people everywhere. Where you at, boy? There he is. Boo! Go on. What better way to drown my Warzone sorrows than play a little bit of Fortnite? So let's jump into a solo game and see how well this system performs. You can see it's being run at 1440p, unlimited frame rate limit. We're kind of a mix between high and epic settings. So far, so good. We're at over 100 FPS, kind of the 105, 106 FPS mark. But let's see if that changes when we jump out of the battle bus. That's quite a good way to start today's game. I don't know what he was thinking. I mean, all in all, this system performs really, really well. And you know, looks the part as well. If you enjoyed today's video, you want to see more from me, make sure to get subscribed and smash that like button. It really, really does help me out. All the parts with latest pricing will be linked, as always, in the description below. But thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next GeekaWhat video.